Hi there, it's Trisha, and I wanted to go over the trades for Wednesday, May 20th, and I'll do a couple videos this weekend to try and catch up. I know a lot of you have questions about the trend lines, so hopefully this will help with all that. But if you'd like to go to www.easyemintrade.com and you can check out those setups. Actually working on another one for a scalp since we haven't been getting many squeeze plays fire off with the market environment the way it is. So anyway, with that, you are looking at Wednesday, and we opened and price obviously moved higher. We have a trend line drawn here, and this closed below the trend line and actually entered in under actually half a point under that bar at 921 and sat in it sideways for quite a while, and it was moving very slowly. So that is why I wanted to show you this. Some people have a time stop or a bar stop, meaning they give a trade a specific amount of time before they scratch it. They cancel it and look for another entry later. And I don't have anything in writing on what I require in the way of time, but I can tell you that I sat here through these three bars and it totaled about 20 minutes. So I got tired of waiting, so I got out at break even. And unfortunately, you can see what happened after that. So that's just the way it is. I did try to get back on once it closed under this trend line here. I put an order in for half a point below this bar, and my rules require that I get filled on the very next bar, meaning my price has to get hit on the very next bar to take me in or I cancel. So this next bar did not get to the price, my entry price, so I cancel. And that is a rule that I won't break. So this unfortunately, you know, got below there after that bar, but it doesn't matter. For me, the play was not valid anymore. But obviously, if I would have just hung on a little bit longer here, basically one more bar, it would have went on to be a +2, +4, and then if I was trail stopping, I would have been stopped out on this bar here because I would have had my stop a half a point above here and stopped out here. So my final lot would have been 2.5. And I know a lot of you stayed in that and turned out to be an excellent trade. So great. Another one that set up was right here. And this was at lunchtime, so this isn't something that that I took, but many of you did, so I'm pointing it out because it was a setup. You had a close above the trend line here. You enter in a half a point above this bar here, and you would have got a little bit. It wouldn't have been a lot, but it would have worked out. But the reason why I'm pointing this out is I always say look to the left, and you can't really see it on here, but if you look at your 200 tick chart, if you have floor pivots on there, you can see that there's a pivot point right above your head, and those pivot points usually will fall right in line with resistance areas. So the reason why I wanted to show you this to you is on that day, so this is May 20th right here, this block here. And so if you look to your left, you can see right here on the 19th, you've got a resistance area of like approximately 914 thereabouts. If you look over here, that's an area that kept getting hit. And what I mean is, it's an area that it kept stopping at, meaning the price stopped or opened there. It was a relevant area. So you have here where it's hitting there, these here where it's hitting approximately there. So you just need to pay attention to that because that is right where this line is drawn right there. So knowing that, if you're in this trade and you see that you're getting close to that resistance area, you might want to take your profits when you get close to a resistance area, or tighten up your stops, or take a little bit more off the table. But that realistically is an area that could present a problem. Now, if this were a different time of day, Yeah, who knows? It could have flown right through there. But you just need to be aware of where they're at, just so you can hopefully take some profits off the table before letting it turn into a loser. And as you see, it did turn out to be a relevant area because you kept hitting it here and here, here and here, and could not bust through it, and then finally comes down again. This actually closed right below, just barely, like barely below this trend line. So even if you got in below this trend line, this is not something that I personally would take, because you've got the close from yet the day before here, and you got the low from the day before here. And in most cases, this is typically an area where you're going to get a price hold up. Not always, and it does become less relevant on a 2000 tick chart, but just keeping in mind that usually what you see to your area to the left is often what you're going to see as price is occurring now. So just because of the time of day is my guess why this did drop. It's after 3 and actually got below that area at 3:15. But you can see here after the fact, of course, that it worked. But if you go back and look, oftentimes it's not going to work at that time of day. And so that's the reason why I would not take that, is just because we were so close to both of these areas. And, if you took it, fine, it obviously worked out fine. But to take a trade right in that area, I'm not going to do it. Now, if I was in a trade up here and this was, a couple points below me, then, I'd be more willing to take it off the longer tick chart. But to take an entry right at where the close from the day before is, the smarter thing would be to wait for it to bust through that area and then look for a pullback on your smaller tick chart. So anyway, those were the trendline breaks on Wednesday, May 20th. And you can check those out at www.easyeminitrade.com, and I hope that helps a little bit with the trend lines.